I woke up in a hospital bed with no memory of how I got there, my head pounding, and a man I'd never seen before holding my hand like we'd known each other forever. "Thank God you're awake," he said, his voice rough with what sounded like genuine relief. "The doctor said you'd be fine, but seeing you like this." He didn't finish, just squeezed my hand tighter. I stared at him, trying to place his face. Dark hair, sharp features, expensive suit that screamed money, and an intensity in his dark eyes that made me uneasy. He was handsome in a dangerous way, the kind of man you noticed and then carefully avoided. "I'm sorry, but who are you?" The words came out scratchy, my throat dry. His expression flickered with something. Surprise, concern, maybe calculation. "Sweetheart, it's me. Alessandro, your husband." "My what?" I tried to sit up, but pain shot through my head. "I don't have a husband. I don't even have a boyfriend. Who are you really, and why are you pretending to know me?" Before he could answer, a doctor entered, clipboard in hand, looking between us with professional concern. "Mrs. Russo, you're awake. How are you feeling?" "Confused. Scared, and not Mrs. Russo. My name is Natalie Hayes. I don't know this man, and I don't know why I'm here." The doctor's expression shifted to alarm. "You don't recognize your husband." "He's not my husband. I've never seen him before in my life." The man, Alessandro, apparently, stood, moving to speak quietly with the doctor. I caught fragments. Head trauma. Memory loss. Temporary. Give her time. They were talking about me like I wasn't there. Like my insistence that I didn't know this stranger was just a symptom to be managed. "Excuse me," I said loudly, "but I'm right here, and I'm telling you I don't know this man. Why won't anyone believe me?" The doctor approached my bed, his expression kind but patronizing. "Mrs. Russo, you were in a car accident 3 days ago. You hit your head quite severely. It's not uncommon for head trauma to cause temporary memory issues, including amnesia. Your husband has been here every day, waiting for you to wake up. But I'm not. I don't." I looked at my left hand, and my breath caught. There was a ring. A beautiful diamond and platinum wedding band that I'd never seen before. "This isn't my ring, I didn't. How did this get here?" "Natalie, please just calm down." Alessandro was back at my bedside, his hand reaching for mine. I jerked away. "I know you're scared. I know this is confusing. But I promise you, we're married. Have been for 2 years. The accident has affected your memory, but the doctors say it should come back. You just need time." 2 years. That's impossible. I would remember getting married. I would remember you. But even as I said it, doubt crept in. My head was pounding, my memories felt fuzzy. What was the last thing I clearly remembered? I tried to think back. Work. I was a nurse at County General. I remembered my shifts, my apartment, my cat. But when I tried to remember yesterday, last week, anything recent, it was blank, like someone had erased the file. "What's the date?" I asked suddenly. "May 15th, 2024, the doctor supplied. My stomach dropped. The last date I clearly remembered was January 2022. Over 2 years just gone, missing, like they'd never happened. I don't remember anything after January 2022. Nothing. How is that possible? The brain is complicated," the doctor explained. "Trauma can cause various types of memory loss. In your case, it seems to be retrograde amnesia. You've lost memories from before the accident, but your older memories remain intact. The good news is that this type of amnesia is often temporary. Your memories could return gradually, or all at once. We just need to be patient." Patient. They wanted me to be patient about losing 2 years of my life, about waking up apparently married to a stranger, about being told my reality was wrong and I just needed to wait for my brain to catch up. "I want to go home," I said, "to my apartment. With my things where I can think clearly." "You can't go back to your old apartment," Alessandro said carefully. "You moved out when we got married. You live with me now. In our home." "I don't have a home with you. I have a studio apartment in Queens that I share with my cat, Pumpkin. I want to go there. Pumpkin is fine. She's at our house being taken care of." He pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. It was definitely Pumpkin, orange tabby with white paws. But she was in a room I didn't recognize, looking content and well-fed. When did you?" None of this made sense. The doctor intervened. "Mrs. Russo, I understand this is overwhelming, but you sustained serious injuries in the accident. You need rest, observation, time to heal. I'm recommending at least 2 more days in the hospital before we discuss discharge. Use that time to let your husband help you understand your life. Look at photos, hear stories. Sometimes sensory cues can help trigger memories." After the doctor left, I stared at this man who claimed to be my husband. He was watching me with an expression that seemed genuinely concerned, but there was something underneath. Calculation, maybe caution, like he was measuring every word before speaking. "I know you don't believe me," he said quietly, "and I understand why. But Natalie, I love you. We've built a life together. A good life. I just need you to give me a chance to prove it. To help you remember. Why should I trust you? I don't know you. For all I know, you're some con artist who's taking advantage of my memory loss. Then look at the evidence. Your ring. Custom designed, you helped choose it. Your medical records list me as your husband, as your emergency contact. The hospital has our marriage certificate on file. Your driver's license has our home address." He pulled out a wallet, showed me my own license. The address was definitely not my Queens apartment. I took the license, studying my own face in the photo. I looked the same but different. Happier maybe. Hairstyled differently. Wearing makeup I didn't remember buying. On the back of the license was an organ donor designation I didn't recall making. This could all be fake. You could have forged everything. I could have. But why? What would I gain from pretending to be married to a woman who doesn't remember me? If I were a con artist, I'd have picked an easier mark. He sat in the chair beside my bed, looking exhausted. Natalie, I've been sleeping in this hospital for 3 days, terrified you wouldn't wake up. I've called your family, your friends, everyone who cares about you to update them on your condition. I've been here every single moment. Does that sound like a con artist? It didn't. It sounded like someone who actually cared, but that didn't make sense either because I didn't know him. You said you called my family. My parents? My sister? Your parents came yesterday. Your sister flew in from Seattle. She's at our house now, taking care of Pumpkin and waiting for updates. They've all been worried sick. If my family was here, why didn't they stay? Why aren't they here now? Because visiting hours ended, and I promised to call the moment you woke up. He checked his watch. It's 3 a.m. They'll be back first thing in the morning. You can ask them anything you want. They'll confirm everything I've told you. The fact that he wasn't afraid of me talking to my family made his story more credible. A con artist wouldn't want me comparing notes with people who actually knew me. Tell me about us, I said finally. If we're really married, tell me how we met, how we fell in love, everything. For the next hour, Alessandro told me a story. We'd met when he came to the hospital. He didn't specify why, just said he'd been there for a family matter. I'd been his nurse. We'd talked, connected, started dating. 6 months later, he'd proposed. We'd gotten married in a small ceremony with just family and close friends. The story sounded plausible, romantic even, but it felt like he was describing someone else's life. Do you have photos? Of our wedding, of us together. He pulled out his phone again, scrolled through pictures. There we were, me in a wedding dress, him in a tuxedo, kissing at an altar. Me laughing at a restaurant, his arm around me. The two of us on what looked like a beach vacation, both smiling at the camera. Dozens of photos spanning what appeared to be 2 years of relationship. These could be photoshopped, I said, but my protest sounded weak even to my ears. They could be. But they're not. He zoomed in on one photo, our wedding photo. Look at your face. Really look. Does that look like someone being forced or deceived? You look happy, Natalie. Genuinely happy. He was right. In the photo, I was beaming, looking at him with clear affection, holding his hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. Either I'd been an excellent actress or I'd actually loved this man. I need to sleep, I said finally. This is too much. I can't process all of this right now. Of course. I'll let you rest. He stood, but hesitated. Can I stay? Just in the chair, I won't bother you. But the thought of leaving you alone after you've finally woken up. Fine, you can stay, but in the chair. Don't touch me. I wouldn't dream of it. He settled into the uncomfortable hospital chair, pulling out his phone. I watched him for a few minutes, the way he sat, the way he moved, looking for anything familiar. But there was nothing. He was a complete stranger. I must have fallen asleep, because when I opened my eyes again, it was morning. Alessandro was still in the chair, now asleep, his head at an awkward angle that would definitely give him neck pain. In sleep, he looked less intimidating, almost vulnerable. My movement must have woken him because his eyes opened immediately, focusing on me with sharp awareness. How do you feel? His voice was rough from sleep, like I lost 2 years of my life and woke up married to a stranger. Fair. He stood, stretched, wincing at the crack in his neck. Your family will be here soon. Maybe seeing them will help. An hour later, my hospital room was full. My parents, my sister Claire, and 2 people who were apparently my best friends, though I only recognized one of them from before my memory gap. They all hugged me, cried, told me how scared they'd been, and they all confirmed Alessandro's story. You two are so in love it's disgusting, Claire said, squeezing my hand. When Alessandro called to say you'd been in an accident, he could barely get the words out. He's been a wreck, Nat. Hasn't left your side. But I don't remember him. Or apparently 2 years of my life. How am I supposed to just accept that I'm married to someone I don't know? The same way you accepted any relationship, by getting to know him. Again, in this case. But Natalie, he's a good man. A little intense, maybe overprotective sometimes, but he loves you completely. Give him a chance. My mother pulled me aside when the others were distracted. Honey, I know this is scary, but you chose Alessandro. You fell in love with him despite all the reasons it was complicated. Trust your past self's judgment. She knew what she was doing. What do you mean, complicated? My mother glanced at Alessandro, who was talking quietly with my father. His family is traditional. Old money, old world values. When you first started dating, we were worried, but Alessandro proved himself. Showed us he'd protect you, take care of you, love you the way you deserve. You were happy, Natalie. The happiest I'd ever seen you. After my family left, promising to visit again tomorrow, Alessandro approached my bed carefully. They're all lying, I said flatly. Confirming your story because you paid them or threatened them. Or they're telling the truth and you just can't remember it yet. He sat in the visitor chair. I have an idea. What if I take you home, our home, when the doctor discharges you? Let you see where you've been living. Sometimes familiar surroundings help trigger memories. And if being there doesn't feel right, if you're truly uncomfortable, I'll arrange for you to stay somewhere else until your memory returns. Why would you do that? If we're really married, wouldn't you want your wife living with you? I want my wife to feel safe and comfortable. If that means giving you space until you remember me, then that's what I'll do. Because forcing you to live with a stranger isn't going to help anyone. The offer seemed genuine. And honestly, I was curious about this life I supposedly lived but couldn't remember. Okay. When the doctor releases me, I'll come see this house. But Alessandro, if anything feels wrong, if I think you're lying about any of this, I'm calling the police. Understood. And Natalie, you can call me Sandro. That's what you always called me. Said Alessandro was too formal for someone you shared a bed with. The casual mention of sharing a bed made my face heat. Because apparently, I had shared a bed with this man. Had been intimate with him. Built a life with him. And I remembered none of it. 2 days later, the doctor cleared me for discharge with instructions to rest, avoid stress, and follow up in a week. Alessandro helped me into a car that was far too expensive for a nurse's salary, sleek black sedan that probably cost more than I made in a year. Is this your car? I asked as he helped me with the seatbelt. It's our car. You picked it out, actually. Said if we were getting a new vehicle, it should be something safe and comfortable for long drives. The ride to our house took 40 minutes, ending in a neighborhood I'd never been to. Expensive brownstones, tree-lined streets, the kind of area where people had money and privacy. He pulled into the driveway of a beautiful 3-story brownstone, and my breath caught. We live here. This place must cost millions. It's worth it for the security and privacy. Come on, let me show you around. The inside of the brownstone was even more impressive than the outside. High ceilings, expensive furniture, art on the walls that looked original rather than prints. Everything was elegant but comfortable, the kind of home that was actually lived in rather than just displayed. This is beautiful, I admitted, running my fingers along a bookshelf filled with titles I recognized. But Sandro, I'm a nurse. You said you met me at the hospital. How can we afford a place like this? He was quiet for a moment, and I caught something in his expression. Hesitation, maybe concern. I come from money. Family business, investments. I never wanted you to feel uncomfortable about the financial difference, but this is the life I can provide, the life we chose together. Family business. What kind of family business? Import-export, primarily. Some real estate holdings. It's complicated and honestly you never asked for many details. You were more interested in our life together than my work. The vague answer felt deliberate, like he was hiding something. But before I could press, an orange blur launched itself at me, meowing loudly. Pumpkin. I scooped up my cat, feeling the first genuine moment of familiarity since waking up. Oh, you're so fat. What have you been feeding her? She's not fat, she's fluffy. And possibly spoiled. You always snuck her extra treats. Sandro smiled, and it transformed his face from intimidating to genuinely warm. She missed you. Spent the last 3 days sleeping on your side of the bed, waiting for you to come home. My side of the bed. The words felt strange. Can I see it? Our bedroom? Of course, it's upstairs. The master bedroom was stunning. Huge bed with soft linens, windows overlooking a private garden, an ensuite bathroom with a tub I dreamed about owning. And everywhere, signs of shared life. His clothes in the closet next to mine. Photos on the nightstand of us together. A book on my side of the bed. Half-read, bookmark holding my place. I was reading this. I picked up the book, a thriller I'd been wanting to read. You've been working through that one for a month. Keep saying you'll finish it, but you fall asleep after 2 pages every night. He moved to the dresser, pulled out comfortable clothes. I thought you might want to change into something more comfortable than the hospital gown and borrowed clothes. The clothes he handed me were definitely mine. Soft leggings and an oversized sweater in exactly my style. But I didn't remember buying them. I'll give you privacy to change. Come downstairs when you're ready. I'll make you something to eat. You must be starving after hospital food. After he left, I explored the bedroom more carefully. The closet held clothes in my size, my style, but nicer than I usually bought. Shoes I'd never worn but fit perfectly. Jewelry in a box on the dresser, including what looked like expensive pieces. In the nightstand drawer, I found a journal. My handwriting, entries dating back 2 years. I sat on the bed, flipping through pages that documented a life I didn't remember. Met the most interesting man today at the hospital. He was visiting someone, and we got to talking. There's something about him, intense, a little mysterious but also kind. He asked for my number. I said yes. We'll see what happens. 3 months later, Alessandro took me to the most beautiful restaurant tonight. He's unlike anyone I've ever dated. Attentive, generous, but also guarded. There are parts of his life he doesn't talk about. His family, his business. Should I be concerned? Or is everyone entitled to privacy? 6 months in, he proposed. I said yes before he even finished asking. Is this crazy? We've only been together 6 months. But it feels right. He feels right. Like I've been waiting my whole life for someone exactly like him. The wedding day entry was long, detailed, describing a ceremony that sounded beautiful and emotional. I married Alessandro Russo today. I'm someone's wife, his wife. It should feel strange, but it doesn't. It feels like coming home. I read through 2 years of entries, normal couple things. Fights about whose turn it was to do dishes, laughter over inside jokes, quiet moments of contentment, and throughout, clear evidence that I'd loved this man. Deeply, genuinely. But I still didn't remember any of it. I changed into the comfortable clothes and headed downstairs, finding Sandro in the kitchen cooking something that smelled amazing. "You cook?" I asked, settling onto a bar stool at the kitchen island. "When I have time. You're usually the cook. You're better at it. But I know how to make your favorites." He plated what looked like homemade pasta with vegetables. "Eat? Then maybe we can look through photo albums, see if anything triggers memories." The food was delicious, and we ate in comfortable silence. When I'd finished, Sandro cleared the dishes and gestured toward the living room, ready for the photo tour of our life together. For the next 2 hours, we went through albums, physical books of printed photos, not just digital files, our first date, holidays with both our families, a beach vacation, me in scrubs after a long shift, him in suits before work meetings. Hundreds of photos documenting a relationship I had no memory of. "We look happy," I said finally, studying a photo of us laughing at something off camera. "We were. Will be again once your memory returns." He closed the album. "I know this is overwhelming. Know you're dealing with a lot. But Natalie, I'm not going anywhere. I'll wait however long it takes for you to remember, or to fall in love with me again, whichever comes first. What if I never remember? What if this is permanent? Then we start over. Build new memories instead of trying to recover old ones. I fell in love with you once. I can do it again. And maybe you can too." The confidence in his voice should have been reassuring. Instead, it made me uneasy, because there was still something he wasn't telling me. I could feel it in the careful way he answered questions, the subjects he steered away from. "Sandro, what is it you're not telling me? About your family business, about your life. There's something you're hiding." He was quiet for a long moment, clearly wrestling with something. "Finally, you're right. There are things about my family, my business, that I haven't explained. Things you knew before the accident but might not remember. And I'm hesitant to overwhelm you while you're recovering. I'd rather know the truth than be protected from it. Whatever it is, tell me." "Not tonight. You're exhausted, still recovering. Give yourself a few days to adjust to being home, to being around me. Then I'll explain everything, I promise." I wanted to push, to demand answers now, but he was right that I was exhausted. The hospital discharge, the ride home, the emotional weight of seeing a life I didn't remember. It was all catching up with me. "Okay, a few days. But then you tell me everything, no matter how overwhelming." I stood. "I'm going to bed. The guest room. If that's okay. I'm not ready to share a bed with someone I don't remember." "Of course." "Second door on the left upstairs. It's already set up. I had it prepared just in case." He moved like he wanted to hug me, then stopped himself. "Good night, Natalie. I'm glad you're home." The guest room was comfortable, and I fell asleep quickly despite the strangeness of the situation. But I woke up around 2 a.m. to voices downstairs. Sandra's voice, speaking rapid Italian, sounding angry. I crept to the top of the stairs, listening. "Can't tell her yet. She's not ready. The memory loss is actually a blessing. She doesn't remember anything about the family, about the business. We can keep her separate from all of that." A pause, someone responding on the phone. "I know what I agreed to, but things are different now. She's vulnerable, confused. I won't use that against her." Another pause. "No, absolutely not. She's my wife, not a tool for your operations. Find another way." He hung up, and I heard him sigh heavily. Then footsteps approaching the stairs. I scrambled back to the guest room, closing the door quietly just before I heard him walking down the hallway. He paused outside my door. I could see his shadow under the doorframe, then continued to the master bedroom. I lay awake the rest of the night, processing what I'd heard. Family business, operations. Whatever Sandro's family did, it wasn't just import-export. It was something he'd been keeping me separate from, something he didn't want me involved in. And whatever it was dangerous enough that he was protecting me from it even now, when I was vulnerable and confused. The next morning, I found Sandro in his study, a room I hadn't seen the day before. He was on his computer, papers spread across his desk, looking stressed. "Morning," I said from the doorway. "Working from home." He looked up, his expression immediately smoothing into something more neutral. "Just handling some family business." "How did you sleep?" "Fine until about 2 a.m. when I heard you on the phone." Speaking Italian, sounding angry. I stepped into the study. "Sandro, who are you talking to? What family business requires 2 a.m. phone calls?" He closed his laptop, giving me his full attention. "My family is complicated. They have expectations, demands, ways of doing things that sometimes conflict with what I want. Last night was just me setting boundaries with them." "Boundaries about what?" "About you. About keeping you out of certain aspects of family business that don't concern you." "But I'm your wife." "Apparently. Wouldn't family business concern me by default?" "Not this family business. Natalie, I promised to explain everything in a few days. Can you trust me enough to wait until you're stronger?" What I heard didn't sound like import-export. It sounded like something illegal. His expression shifted, surprise that I'd understood enough, then resignation. "You're not wrong. My family's business operations include some gray areas. Nothing that should affect our life together, but enough that I've always tried to keep you separate from it. What kind of gray areas? The kind we'll discuss when you're ready. Not today. Not while you're still recovering. He stood, moving around the desk toward me. Natalie, I need you to trust me. Whatever my family does, whatever business I'm involved in, I've never let it touch you. That's not changing now. How can I trust someone I don't remember? Someone who admits to hiding things from me? Because you trusted me before. Look at your journal entries. You knew there were aspects of my family you didn't fully understand, but you loved me anyway. You chose this life. This marriage. That has to mean something. He was right. The journal made it clear I'd known Sandro had secrets, but had decided they didn't matter more than what we had together. But that was past me making that choice. Current me was terrified and confused. I need air. I'm going for a walk. Let me come with you. No, I need space, time to think without you hovering. I grabbed a jacket from the closet. I'll be back. I just need to clear my head. I left before he could argue, stepping out into the morning air. The neighborhood was quiet, expensive, the kind of place where people minded their own business. I walked without direction, trying to process everything. I was married to a man I didn't remember, living in a house that should be beyond my means. Apparently in love with someone whose family business was illegal enough that he'd hidden it from me, and somewhere in my missing 2 years, I decided all of that was acceptable. What kind of person had I become? I was so lost in thought that I didn't notice the car pulling up beside me until a window rolled down. Mrs. Russo, a man's voice, accented. I'm a friend of your husband's family. He asked me to make sure you were safe during your walk. I looked at the car, black sedan, tinted windows, the man inside wearing a suit despite the early hour. Everything about the situation screamed danger. I don't know you, and I don't need an escort for a morning walk. Nevertheless, Mr. Russo would prefer you had protection. Please, get in the car. I'll drive you back to the house. I'm walking. Tell Alessandro that I'm fine and I'll be home when I'm ready. I turned and walked faster, heart pounding. The car followed slowly, staying parallel to me. The man called out again, something in Italian I didn't understand. Then the car sped up, cut in front of me, and 2 men got out. Mrs. Russo, please. We're not trying to scare you. But Mr. Russo's enemies know about the accident, about your memory loss. You're vulnerable right now. We're here to protect you. Enemies? What enemies? What the hell has Sandro gotten me into? Before they could answer, another car pulled up. This one I recognized. Sandro got out, his expression furious, speaking rapid Italian to the men. They responded, gesturing to me, clearly explaining the situation. Sandro turned to me, his anger shifting to concern. Jet in my car. Now, we're going home, and then I'm explaining everything. Because apparently, you can't even take a walk without my family's enemies trying to use you against me. I got in the car, too shocked to argue. During the short ride home, Sandro was silent, jaw clenched, clearly fighting to control his temper. Once we were back at the brownstone, he locked the door and faced me. My family is involved in organized crime. We run operations throughout New York, some legal, some not. I'm second in command under my uncle, being groomed to eventually take over leadership. And yes, that means I have enemies. People who would love to hurt me by hurting you. The admission hung in the air. My husband was in the Mafia, actually in the Mafia. You're a criminal. I'm a businessman in a complicated industry. But yes, by legal definition, I've broken laws. Do illegal things. It's who I am, what my family is. And before your accident, you knew this. You chose to marry me anyway. Why? Why would I do that? Because you loved me. Because I kept you separate from the worst of it. Because I promised to always protect you, and I kept that promise. He moved closer. Natalie, I know this is a lot. But you need to understand you're in danger because of me. My enemies know about you, about your memory loss. They think you're weak, vulnerable, a useful target. Those men following you. They weren't my family's men. They were probably trying to grab you, use you for leverage against me. Fear spiked through me. So I'm what? A hostage risk because I married you. You're under my protection. Which means anyone who touches you answers to me. But you need to be smart. No more solo walks. No going anywhere without security. Until your memory returns and you can protect yourself properly. You stay close to me or my trusted people. I'm a prisoner in my own life. You're protected in a dangerous world. There's a difference. He pulled out his phone, made a call in Italian, then turned back to me. I'm having security stationed at the house. You'll have a bodyguard whenever you leave. I know you hate this, but it's not negotiable. Over the next week, I adjusted to my new reality, or rather, my old reality that felt new. A bodyguard named Marco shadowed me everywhere. The brownstone had security cameras I'd never noticed before. And Sandro treated me like I was made of glass, constantly checking in, making sure I was comfortable, giving me space while also being perpetually present. This is suffocating. I told him one evening. We were having dinner. Another meal he'd cooked because apparently that was our routine when I wasn't working. The constant security. The rules about where I can go. I feel like I'm under house arrest. You're under protection. After what happened last week, can you blame me for being cautious? You never explained what happened last week. Who were those men? What did they want? Sandro set down his fork, his expression going serious. They were from the Castellano family. Rivals of ours. They've been looking for leverage against me for months. When they heard about your accident, about your memory loss, they saw an opportunity. Opportunity for what? To kidnap you. Hold you for ransom or worse, hurt you to hurt me. The men following you were probably planning to grab you off the street. His jaw clenched. Which is why you can't go anywhere alone. Not until this threat is neutralized. Neutralized how? Are you going to kill them? I'm going to make it clear that touching you means war. That's usually enough to discourage most enemies. He reached across the table, taking my hand. Natalie, I know you don't remember our life together. But you need to trust that I've always kept you safe. That's not changing now. How did I live like this before? Knowing you were in danger, that I was in danger because of your family business. You adapted, learned the rules, stayed smart, and honestly, most of the time you didn't think about it. You focused on your nursing job, on our life together, on the normal parts. The dangerous parts only intruded occasionally. But they did intrude. That's the point. This life, your life, it's not normal, it's not safe, no. But it's ours. And before the accident, you decided it was worth it. He squeezed my hand. I'm not asking you to make that decision again right now, just to stay safe while we figure this out. My phone rang, my sister Claire calling. I'd been talking to her daily, getting updates on my life before the accident, hearing stories about Sandro and our relationship. Hey Claire. Nat, how are you feeling? Any memories coming back? Nothing yet. Just living in this weird limbo where everyone tells me about my life but I can't remember any of it. I glanced at Sandro. Did you know? About Alessandro's family business. A pause. I knew it was complicated. That his family was involved in things that weren't exactly legal. But Natalie, you loved him despite that. You said he kept you separate from the worst of it. That he was good to you, that the love was worth the complications. Everyone keeps saying that. That I loved him, that I was happy. But I don't feel it. I look at him and I see a stranger. Give it time. The doctors said your memories could come back. Until then, just get to know him again. He's still the same man you fell in love with, even if you can't remember falling. After we hung up, I found Sandro in his study again, working late. He looked up when I entered, immediately closing his laptop. Can't sleep, he asked. Can't stop thinking. About us, about this life I don't remember. I sat in the chair across from his desk. Tell me about how we fell in love. Not the summary version, the real version. What made me choose you despite knowing what you were? He leaned back, considering. You didn't know what I was at first. Just thought I was a businessman with family money. We dated for 3 months before I told you the truth. And when I did, you were angry. Said I'd lied by omission, put you in danger without your knowledge. So what changed? Why did I stay? Because I promised to keep you separate from it, to never let my world touch yours. And because, he paused, something vulnerable crossing his face. You said you saw who I was underneath. Not the criminal, not the family obligation. The person who wanted better than what he was born into but didn't know how to escape it. Did you want to escape it? Your family business. Sometimes. But it's complicated. My family, my responsibilities. I can't just walk away. This is who I am. What I am, you accepted that. Said you'd rather have me with all my complications than someone simple and safe. That doesn't sound like me. I'm practical, risk-averse. I became a nurse because I wanted a stable career helping people. Why would I choose chaos? Because love isn't practical. You told me that once. That loving me made no sense on paper, but your heart didn't care about logic. He stood, moved around the desk. And because I made you a promise, that no matter what happened in my world, you'd always be safe. I've kept that promise, Natalie. Even now, with your memory gone and enemies circling, you're protected. At what cost? Living under guard, unable to go anywhere alone, married to someone I don't know. At the cost of your freedom, yes. But alive and safe. That's the trade-off. He was close enough to touch now, but he kept his hands to himself. I won't apologize for protecting you. Even if you resent me for it. I looked up at him. This complicated, dangerous man I'd apparently loved enough to marry. I don't resent you. I'm just trying to understand. Trying to figure out if the woman I was made the right choice, or if she was blinded by love. Does it matter? Right or wrong, the choice is made. You're my wife. I'm your husband. We deal with the consequences together. The next morning, Marco drove me to the hospital for my follow-up appointment. The doctor was pleased with my physical recovery but concerned about the continued memory loss. It's been 2 weeks since the accident. By now we'd typically see some memory return, even fragments. The fact that you still have complete amnesia for the 2-year period is unusual. He made notes on my chart. I'm recommending we try some memory exercises. Sensory triggers, familiar locations, anything that might help jog loose those lost memories. Like what? Visiting places that were significant to you and your husband. Looking at meaningful objects. Spending time with people who were part of your life during that period. Sometimes the brain just needs the right trigger to unlock what's been blocked. That afternoon, Sandro took me to the restaurant where we'd had our first date, an upscale Italian place in Manhattan. We sat at what he said was our table, ordered what had apparently been our usual meals. Does any of this feel familiar? He asked, watching me carefully. It's a nice restaurant, but no, nothing's clicking. I looked around at the elegant decor, the other diners, searching for any spark of recognition. Nothing. Tell me about our first date. What we talked about, what happened. You were nervous. Kept adjusting your napkin, avoiding eye contact. I asked why you'd agreed to go out with me if you were so uncomfortable, and you said you were nervous because you liked me too much. Didn't want to mess it up by saying something stupid. That does sound like me. Halfway through dinner, you relaxed. We talked about everything. Your family, your work, your dreams. You wanted to eventually go back to school, become a nurse practitioner. I told you about my family, though I left out the criminal parts. We laughed, connected. By the end of the night, I knew I wanted to see you again. And then we dated. Saw each other 2 or 3 times a week. You'd come to family dinners. My mother loved you immediately. My sister Gianna became your best friend. Slowly, you became part of my life in a way no one else ever had. When did you tell me the truth? About what your family really does? 3 months in. We were getting serious, talking about the future. I couldn't lie anymore. Couldn't keep you separate. So I told you everything. Who my family was, what we did, the dangers involved. I expected you to run. Instead, you asked if I'd ever personally hurt anyone innocent. What did you say? The truth. That I'd hurt people, but only those involved in my world. That I had lines I didn't cross, rules I followed. You said you could live with that, with me being morally gray instead of purely evil. You just needed me to promise to keep you separate from the violence. And you did. Kept that promise. Until the accident, you never saw me do anything illegal. Never witnessed violence, never met my enemies. I kept you in the legitimate parts of my life, protected you from the rest. That was our agreement. We finished dinner, and he took me to other meaningful locations. The park where he'd proposed, the courthouse where we'd gotten married in a small civil ceremony, the coffee shop where I'd apparently spent hours reading while he worked on his laptop beside me. None of it triggered memories, but it did paint a picture of our relationship, normal couple things happening in the shadow of his dangerous world. I can see why I fell for you, I admitted as we drove home. You're thoughtful, attentive, clearly devoted. But Sandro, I still don't remember. And I don't know if I can fall in love with you again knowing what I know now about your family. Then don't fall in love. Just stay. Give your memories time to return. Give us time to figure this out. I'm not asking for love. Just for you not to run. What if I want to run? What if I decide this life isn't for me? His hands tightened on the steering wheel. Then I'd let you go. Get you set up somewhere safe. Make sure my enemies couldn't find you. And I'd handle the divorce quietly. Ensure you got everything you deserved. Because forcing you to stay in a marriage you don't want. That's not love. That's possession. The admission surprised me. You'd really let me go. After everything. If that's what you wanted. If you're truly happier without me, without this life. Then yes, I'd let you go. He glanced at me. But I'd hope you'd give us a real chance first. Give your memories time to return. Give yourself time to know me again before making that decision. Over the following weeks, I did try. I spent time with Sandro, let him show me our life together. Listened to stories from friends and family about our relationship. And slowly, I started to see the man behind the criminal. The person who'd won over my past self. He was patient with my questions, honest about his world, protective without being controlling. When I wanted space, he gave it. When I needed reassurance, he provided it. He treated me like someone precious and valued, not like property or an obligation. You're different than I expected. I told him one evening. We were watching a movie, his choice, but he'd asked my opinion first. When I learned you were in organized crime, I thought you'd be cold, violent, scary. But you're just a person, complicated and flawed, but decent? I try to be decent to people who matter. You matter more than anyone. He reached for my hand, a gesture he'd started doing more often, testing boundaries. Are you starting to like me? Even a little. I'm starting to understand why I liked you before. That's different from actually liking you now. But I didn't pull my hand away. Ask me again in another month. I can wait a month. I can wait however long it takes. But we didn't have a month. 3 weeks after that conversation, everything changed. I was at the hospital, back to work part-time, easing into my old nursing job, when armed men stormed the ER. They were looking for me. Specifically for me. Natalie Russo? The leader said, grabbing my arm, you're coming with us. Your husband will pay well to get you back. Marco appeared from somewhere, gun drawn, placing himself between me and the men. Let her go, now. Or Mr. Russo will kill everyone in your family. Mr. Russo isn't here. And we have orders. She comes with us or people die. What happened next was chaos, gunfire, screaming, patients diving for cover. Marco fought 3 men while another grabbed me, dragging me toward the exit. I fought back, using self-defense moves I didn't remember learning but my body apparently knew. Then Sandro appeared, bursting through the hospital doors with 6 men, all of them armed. His expression when he saw me being dragged away was pure rage. Let her go, he said quietly, but his voice carried. Let her go and maybe I'll let you live. We have our orders. I don't care about your orders, that's my wife. Release her now, or I start shooting and don't stop until everyone in your family is dead. The man holding me hesitated. Sandro didn't. He shot him in the shoulder, precise, controlled, not fatal but enough to make him release me. I stumbled toward Sandro and he caught me, pulling me behind him. Marco, get her out of here. Now, I'll handle this. Sandro, I'll meet you at home, just go. Marco dragged me away as more gunfire erupted behind us. In the car, speeding toward the brownstone, I was shaking. Is he gonna be okay? Sandro, is he? Boss can handle himself, he's been in worse situations. Your job is to stay safe so he can focus on eliminating the threat. Marco's phone rang. He answered in Italian, listened, then relaxed slightly. Boss is fine. The Castellano men are handled. He's on his way home. Sandro arrived home an hour later, looking rough. Shirt torn, blood on his knuckles, but otherwise unharmed. I ran to him without thinking, checking for injuries. Are you hurt? Is any of this blood yours? I'm fine. It's not mine. He pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. God, when I got the call that the Castellanos had sent men to the hospital, that they were after you, I've never been so terrified in my life. You saved me, you and Marco. If you hadn't shown up, I always show up for you. That's the promise I made Natalie. No matter what, I protect you. He pulled back, cupping my face. But this proves my point. You can't go back to the hospital. Can't work there anymore. It's too exposed, too dangerous. You can't ask me to quit my job. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. Your job at that hospital is done. It's not safe, and after today, I'm not taking any more chances with your life. So what, I'm supposed to just stay home, be a housewife while you handle dangerous mob business? You're supposed to stay alive. That's non-negotiable. His voice was hard final. I'll compensate you for lost income. You can find work elsewhere, something safer. But you're not going back to that hospital. I wanted to argue to fight for my independence. But he was right. Today had proven that being Alessandro Russo's wife made me a target anywhere I went. The hospital wasn't safe. Maybe nowhere was. Fine, I won't go back. But I need something to do, Sandro. I can't just sit here day after day with nothing but waiting and worrying. Then we'll find something. Volunteer work, online classes, whatever you want. Just nothing that puts you in public places where my enemies can grab you. Over the next few days, the reality of my situation sank in. I was essentially under house arrest. For my own protection, yes, but still confined. I couldn't work, couldn't go out alone, couldn't live anything resembling a normal life. I hate this, I told Claire during one of our phone calls. I'm trapped in this beautiful house with a man I barely know, surrounded by armed guards, unable to do anything. Have you considered that maybe the universe is giving you time? Time to heal, to get to know your husband, to figure out what you want. What I want is my memory back, my life back, everything back. But what if you don't get your memory back? What if this is your new normal? Would that really be so terrible? From everything you've told me, Alessandro loves you, protects you, provides for you. Maybe that's enough to build on. He's a criminal, Claire. He shot a man today. Multiple men, probably. That's not normal. That's not okay. But you knew that before? You married him knowing exactly what he was. That Natalie made a choice. Maybe you should trust her judgment. After we hung up, I wandered the brownstone, exploring rooms I hadn't fully examined. In Sandro's study, I found a locked drawer in his desk. Curious, I tried the letter opener on the desk, and surprisingly, it worked. Inside were documents, photos, what looked like business records, and one photo that made my blood run cold. Sandro younger, standing with a group of men, all of them armed, all of them looking dangerous. On the back, handwritten, Russo family 2019, before the Castellano war. His family had been at war with the Castellanos, and I'd married into the middle of it. You shouldn't be looking at that. Sandro's voice from the doorway made me jump. Your drawer wasn't locked properly, and I was curious about what you were hiding. He crossed the room, took the photo from my hand. This is from before we met. A different time, different circumstances. It's not relevant to our life together. It shows me who you really are, what you're capable of. You and your family armed and dangerous, going to war with another crime family. I met his eyes. How many people have you killed, Sandro? That's not a number you want to know. Yes, it is. If I'm going to be your wife, really be your wife, I need to know exactly what I'm dealing with. How many? He was quiet for a long moment. 17. Over 10 years. All of them people who threatened my family, who broke the rules of our world, who deserved what they got by our standards. I'm not a serial killer. But I'm not innocent either. 17 people. My husband had killed 17 people. I should have been horrified, should have run screaming. Instead, I found myself asking, do you regret any of them? 3. 3 who probably didn't deserve to die but were collateral damage in situations that got out of control. I think about them. Wonder if there was another way. But I can't change the past. I can only try to make better choices going forward. And what about the future? Are you going to keep killing people? Keep living this violent life? I'm trying to transition out of the violent parts. Focus on legitimate business, let my younger cousins handle enforcement. But Natalie, I can't promise I'll never have to use violence again. Protecting you, protecting my family, sometimes that requires force. I wish I could be someone different for you, but this is who I am. I sat on the couch, processing this. The woman I was before, she accepted this. Accepted you despite knowing you'd killed people. She did. Said she understood that in my world, violence is sometimes necessary for survival. She just didn't want to see it or participate in it. That was our compromise. And now I know. I've seen you use violence, seen the blood on your hands. How do we compromise when I can't know what you are? He sat beside me, careful not to touch. We're honest with each other. I don't hide my world from you anymore, and you tell me if it's too much, if you can't handle it. And we decide together whether this marriage can survive the truth. What if it can't? What if knowing everything makes me want to leave? Then I keep my promise. Let you go, ensure you're safe, and live with the consequences of my choices. His dark eyes were intense. But I hope you'll choose to stay. Not because of obligation or fear, but because despite everything, you see something in me worth loving. Over the next few weeks, something shifted between us. The forced proximity, the honesty, the shared trauma of the hospital attack. It created a different kind of intimacy than we'd had before. We talked for hours about everything from childhood memories to philosophical debates about morality in impossible situations. Do you think people can change? I asked one evening. We were in the library, both reading but really just enjoying the comfortable silence. Or are we fundamentally who we've always been? I think people can choose who they want to become. Circumstances shape us, but we decide how to respond to those circumstances. He set down his book. Why do you ask? Because I'm trying to figure out if I can become someone who accepts your world, your past, or if I'm fundamentally too different from the woman I was before. You're not that different. Your core values, your kindness, your strength. That's all still there. You've just forgotten the journey that taught you how to adapt to complicated realities. Tell me about her. The woman I was before the accident. What was she like? Sandro smiled, something soft and genuine. She was fierce about the things she cared about. Her patients, her family, me. She'd defend anyone she loved without hesitation. But she was also practical. Knew when to pick battles, when to compromise. She made me laugh, made me think, made me want to be better than I was. She sounds perfect. No wonder you fell in love with her. She wasn't perfect. She was stubborn, sometimes too independent, had a terrible habit of not asking for help even when she needed it. But those flaws just made her more real, more human. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. And I see all of that in you still. The memory loss didn't change who you are fundamentally. It just reset our relationship. Do you think we can build something real? Starting over like this? I think we're already building it. Every conversation, every moment of honesty, every day you choose to stay, we're building something new. Maybe better than what we had before because there are no secrets between us now. A month after the hospital attack, Sandro's uncle, the head of the family, requested a meeting with me. Sandro was reluctant, but his uncle insisted. He wants to meet you properly, now that you're recovered from the accident. Sandro explained as we drove to the family estate. Just be polite, answer his questions, and let me handle anything uncomfortable. The estate was massive, intimidating, everything screaming power and old money. Sandro's uncle, Don Vittorio Russo, was a man in his 70s who carried himself like royalty. He studied me with sharp eyes that missed nothing. So you're the girl my nephew married, the one who lost her memory and forgot she was part of this family. His English was accented but perfect. Tell me, Natalie, now that you remember nothing of your choice to join us, do you regret it? I don't know yet. I'm still figuring out if I can live in this world. Honest. I appreciate that. He gestured for us to sit. Alessandro tells me you know everything now. About our business, our family, his past. That's dangerous knowledge for someone who isn't committed to our way of life. Are you threatening me? I'm assessing you. You're a liability, girl. A wife who doesn't remember choosing this life, who might decide to run, who could expose our operations out of fear or moral objection. Give me one reason I shouldn't encourage my nephew to divorce you for the family's protection. Because I love him. I heard myself say. The admission surprised me as much as it surprised Sandro. I didn't think I did. Didn't think I could love someone I don't remember. But somewhere in these past 2 months, I've fallen for him. The real him, knowing everything. So yes, I'm choosing this life, choosing him, choosing to be part of this family despite the danger and the complications. Don Vittorio smiled slowly. There she is, the fierce woman Alessandro described, the one who chooses love over safety. He turned to Sandro. She's good, nephew. Don't lose her again. In the car afterward, Sandro was quiet, processing what I'd said. Did you mean it? He finally asked. That you love me? I think so. It's different from before. I'm not reclaiming old love, I'm building new love. But yes, I love you. Despite everything, because of everything, I love you. He pulled over, right there on the side of the road, and kissed me. Really kissed me, for the first time since I'd woken up without memories. And it felt right, like coming home to someone I'd been missing without knowing it. I love you too, he said when we broke apart. I never stopped. Even when you didn't know me, when you looked at me like a stranger, I loved you. I'll always love you, Natalie. So what now? We're in love, but I still don't remember our past. How do we move forward? We stop trying to recover the past. We build a future instead. Make new memories rather than chasing old ones. He kissed me again, softer this time. We start over, but better this time. With total honesty, complete trust, and the knowledge that we chose each other twice. That has to mean something. It means everything. That night, I moved back into our bedroom. Not because I remembered being there before, but because I wanted to be there now. Wanted to wake up next to him, build new routines, create the life we'd apparently had before, but this time consciously, deliberately. Are you sure? Sandro asked as I climbed into bed beside him. I don't want you to feel pressured. I'm sure. I love you. I want to be your wife. That starts here, in our bed, in our life. He pulled me close and it felt natural. Right. Like my body remembered even if my mind didn't. We talked until late, making plans for the future, discussing how to balance his world with my needs, figuring out the compromise that would let us build something real. What if your memories never come back? He asked in the darkness. Then we've built something new that's just as good, maybe better, because we built it on honesty instead of hidden secrets. I can live with that. As long as I have you, memory or not, I have everything that matters. I fell asleep in his arms, feeling safe for the first time since waking up in that hospital. And if the memories never returned, if I never remembered those first 2 years, at least I had him, and that was enough. 3 months after I'd woken up in the hospital, life had settled into a new normal. I still had no memories of the missing 2 years, but I'd built new ones with Sandro. We were genuinely married now, not strangers pretending, but partners who'd chosen each other with full knowledge of all the complications. I'd found volunteer work at a women's shelter, helping trauma survivors. Something that felt meaningful without putting me in public danger. Sandro had scaled back his involvement in the family's criminal operations, focusing more on legitimate businesses. We were finding our balance. You seem happy, Claire observed during her visit. She'd flown in for the weekend, wanting to see how I was doing. Different from before maybe, but happy. I am. It's strange. I feel like I should be devastated about losing 2 years of memories. But I'm not. I'm just grateful for what I have now. Do you think the memories will ever come back? The doctors say it's possible but unlikely at this point. Too much time has passed. I shrugged. I've made peace with it. Those memories made me who I was, but not remembering them doesn't make me less myself. I'm just starting from a different chapter. That evening, Sandro took me to a family dinner, a weekly event I'd been attending for 2 months now. His mother Carmela always cooked enough food to feed an army, and the family would gather to eat, argue, and generally enjoy each other's company. Natalie, Gianna, Sandro's sister, hugged me tightly. I brought that book I was telling you about. The one about trauma and memory. Thought you might find it interesting. Thanks. Though I'm kind of done reading about my condition. I'd rather just live my life than analyze what I've lost. Smart. Sometimes acceptance is better than fighting for something that might not come back. She linked her arm through mine. Come help me set the table. Mama's made enough food to feed half of Brooklyn. During dinner, I watched the family dynamics. The way Sandro's younger brother Marco, different from my bodyguard Marco, confusingly, argued about sports with their father. The way Carmela fussed over everyone's plates. The way Gianna teased Sandro about being domesticated, now that he was properly married. You've changed him. Don Vittorio observed, sitting beside me. He's softer now. More human. That's good for him, though sometimes concerning for the family business. Is it a problem that he's pulling back from operations? Not a problem. Natural evolution. Young men need to be aggressive, violent, hungry. But as they age, settle, find partners. They should transition to leadership rather than enforcement. Alessandro is following the right path. He studied me. And you're good for him. Grounding. He needs that balance. After dinner, as we drove home, I asked Sandro about his uncle's comments. He's right that I've changed. You've made me want different things. A family, a life outside the business, something to build that isn't about power or territory. He reached for my hand. Do you regret it? That marrying me means being tied to this world. Sometimes. When I think about the danger, the secrets, the fact that your past could always intrude on our future. But then I look at what we have, the good parts, and I think it's worth the complications. Even knowing I've killed people, that I might have to again. Even knowing that, I don't condone it. But I understand it's part of your world, your survival, and I've chosen to love you anyway. I squeezed his hand. That doesn't make me morally bankrupt. Just realistic about what loving you means. 2 weeks later, everything nearly fell apart. I was at the women's shelter, helping with an intake interview when one of the women recognized me. You're Natalie Russo. Alessandro Russo's wife. She looked terrified. Please, you have to help me. Your husband's family. They're the ones I'm running from. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? My boyfriend works for the Castellano family. He said the Russos put a hit out on him. That they're going to kill him for some territory dispute. I ran because I didn't want to be there when they came. Tears streamed down her face. Please, if you have any influence with your husband, can you stop this? He's not a bad person. He's just caught up in family business he can't escape. I promised to talk to Sandro, though I had no idea if I could actually influence his decisions about business. That evening, I confronted him in his study. There's a woman at the shelter. Says her boyfriend is Castellano family, that you've put a hit out on him. Is that true? Sandro's expression went carefully neutral. That's not something we should discuss. So it is true. You're going to kill someone, and his girlfriend is at my shelter terrified and begging for help. Natalie, you don't understand the context. Then explain it. Make me understand why killing this man is necessary. He sighed, closing his laptop. The man in question betrayed a trust, gave information to the Castellanos that got 2 of our people killed. In our world, that requires a response. Not responding shows weakness, invites more attacks. So you're gonna kill him to send a message. I'm gonna authorize his removal to protect my family. Yes, his voice was hard. This is what I tried to keep you separate from. The ugly parts, the decisions that need to be made to keep everyone safe. But I'm not separate anymore. I know about this about him, about the woman crying at my shelter. I can't just ignore it. You have to. This isn't your world, Natalie. You don't get a vote in family business decisions. Except it is my world now. I'm your wife, part of this family, and I'm telling you, find another way. Exile him, threaten him, make him pay restitution. But don't kill him. Not when I know his girlfriend, when I've seen the human cost of your business decisions. I can't make that call. It's not my decision alone. The family council decided this. Going against them would undermine my authority. Then I'm asking you to try for me. Find a compromise that doesn't end with that woman becoming a widow. I moved closer. Sandro, you said I make you want to be better. This is your chance. Choose mercy over violence, please. He was quiet for a long time, clearly wrestling with the conflict between family obligation and my request. Finally, I'll talk to my uncle. See if there's an alternative the council would accept, but I'm not making promises. This might not be something I can change. I know. I'm just asking you to try. 2 days later, Sandro came home with news. The council agreed to exile instead of execution. The boyfriend gets 48 hours to leave New York and never come back. If he's seen here again, the original order stands. But for now, he lives. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. For trying, for fighting for this. Don't thank me yet. This decision made me look weak to some of the family. They think I'm too influenced by my wife, that I'm losing my edge. He pulled me close. But you were right. Mercy where possible is better than violence. I just hope this doesn't come back to bite us. It did 3 weeks later. The boyfriend who'd been exiled returned to New York, apparently thinking the danger had passed. He was found dead in his apartment, shot execution style, with a note. The Russo family doesn't give second chances. Someone in Sandro's family had ignored the exile agreement and killed him anyway. And his girlfriend, the woman from the shelter, blamed me for giving her false hope. You said he'd be safe. She screamed when she showed up at our house, having somehow gotten past security. You promised he'd leave if he left, and now he's dead because he believed you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought the exile was real, that the family would honor it. Your family is monsters. All of you. And you're just as bad for pretending to be better than you are. She was crying, broken, destroyed by grief. Sandro appeared, having heard the commotion. Mrs. Chen, I'm sorry for your loss. But your boyfriend was warned. He chose to return, chose to ignore our mercy. That was his decision, not ours. You don't get to call it mercy when you kill him anyway. She lunged at me and Sandro's security intercepted her. I hope you rot, all of you. I hope someone makes you feel the pain you've caused. After security removed her, I stood shaking in our foyer. This is on me. I asked for mercy, you gave it. And it meant nothing because someone killed him anyway. This is on whoever in my family decided to act without authorization. I'll find out who and handle it. Sandro pulled me into his arms. But Natalie, this is the reality of my world. Even when we try to be better, violence follows. Are you sure you can live with that? I thought about the woman's pain, the boyfriend's death, the ugly reality of what loving Sandro meant. I don't know. I want to say yes, but this, seeing the actual consequences of your family's actions, it's harder than I thought. Then maybe you should reconsider. If this is too much, if you can't handle the darkness that comes with me, I'll understand. Don't do that. Don't give me an out every time things get hard. I chose this. I chose you. I have to accept all of it, not just the parts I'm comfortable with. But you shouldn't have to accept death and violence just to love me. Maybe not. But I do, because that's what loving you means. I pulled back, meeting his eyes. Just promise me you'll keep trying. Keep choosing mercy when possible. Keep being better than your world expects you to be. I promise. As long as you promise to tell me when it's too much. When you need distance from the darkness. We held each other in the foyer, 2 people trying to navigate an impossible situation with love and honesty. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. A month later, I was organizing the library when I found a box I'd never noticed before. Inside were letters, dozens of them, all addressed to me, all in my own handwriting. Dated from before the accident. I sat down and started reading. They were letters to my future self, written by past me at different points in my relationship with Sandro. Dear future Natalie, if you're reading this, something's happened. Maybe you've forgotten. Maybe you're questioning your choices. So I'm writing to remind you chose Alessandro Russo knowing exactly what he was. You chose love over safety, complexity over simplicity. Don't let fear make you forget why. Another letter. The violence scares me sometimes. But he's never let it touch me directly. That has to count for something. And another. Today I realized I can't imagine my life without him. Whatever his past, whatever his family does, he's mine. And I'm his. That's enough. Reading my own words written by the woman I'd been gave me strange comfort. She'd struggled with the same doubts, the same fears. But she'd chosen to stay, chosen to love him despite everything. I brought the letters to Sandro that evening. Did you know about these? You wrote them after learning about my family. Said you wanted to document your thought process in case you ever doubted your decision. He looked uncomfortable. I forgot they were there. Should I have shown you sooner? Maybe. But I'm glad I found them on my own. Reading my past self's thoughts, it helps. Makes me feel less alone in this struggle to accept your world. What did past you say? That she loved you. That the fear and doubts were worth it. That she chose you consciously, deliberately, with full knowledge. I set down the letters. She trusted her choice. Maybe I should too. Or maybe you should make your own choice. Not based on who you were, but who you are now. I am, and my choice is you. Still, always. 6 months after waking up in that hospital bed, I'd built a life that was both familiar and completely new. I'd fallen in love with my own husband, learned to navigate his dangerous world, and accepted that some memories might never return. And I'd made peace with all of it. You look different. My mother observed during Sunday brunch at our house. Settled, like you finally stopped fighting reality and just accepted it. I have accepted it. This is my life. Complicated, occasionally dangerous, built on a foundation most people wouldn't choose. But it's mine, and I'm happy. Even without your memories, especially without them, because I chose this version of my life consciously. I wasn't swept up in romance or blinded by new love. I saw exactly what loving Sandro meant and chose it anyway. I squeezed her hand. Stop worrying, Mom. I'm okay. Better than okay. That evening, Sandro came home with news. My uncle is retiring, fully stepping back from family leadership. The council wants me to take over as Don. I processed that. What does that mean for us? For your promise to transition away from the criminal operations. It means I have to be more involved, not less. At least for a while, until I can establish leadership and start moving the family toward more legitimate operations. He watched me carefully. I know this isn't what we planned. If you want out, if this is too much, stop offering me outs. I'm not going anywhere. I moved to him, wrapping my arms around his waist. We'll figure it out together. Like we figure out everything. You're sure? Being the Don's wife, it's more exposure, more danger, more responsibility. I'm sure. I chose you when you were second in command. I'm not abandoning you now that you're taking over. We're partners, Sandro. In everything. He held me tightly, and I felt his relief. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. The transition to Sandro becoming Don took 3 months. There were ceremonies, meetings, formal introductions to allied families. I attended everything, playing the role of supportive wife while also learning the intricate politics of his world. You're a natural. Gianna said after one particularly tense family dinner where I'd successfully mediated a dispute between 2 feuding cousins. At being part of the family. Even without your memories, you've adapted perfectly. Maybe the memory loss was a blessing. Let me learn without the baggage of expectations or past mistakes. Or maybe you're just fundamentally good at this. At seeing people, understanding motivations, finding compromises. She hugged me. I'm glad my brother found you. Twice. One evening, about 8 months after the accident, I was getting ready for bed when a sharp pain shot through my head. Images flashed. Random, disconnected, but definitely memories. Sandro laughing at something I'd said. A vacation we'd taken. Our wedding day. Sandro. I called out and he appeared immediately, seeing my distress. What's wrong? Are you hurt? I'm remembering. Actual memories, not just things people told me. I remember us. Our wedding. The fight we had about me wanting to work overtime. The trip to Italy. Tears streamed down my face. It's coming back. All of it over the next few days, memories returned in fragments. Some clear, some hazy. All of them filling in the gaps of the 2 years I'd lost. I remembered falling in love with Sandro the first time. Remembered my fears and doubts. Remembered choosing him despite the complications. How do you feel? Sandro asked when the memories seemed to settle. Having both versions now, the woman you were and the woman you've become. Like I'm complete. The past me made choices that led here. The current me has made peace with those choices and reinforced them. We're the same person, just with more perspective. I took his hand. I don't regret anything. Not the first time I chose you, not the second time. Both versions of me loved you. That has to mean something. It means I'm the luckiest man alive. I gotta fall in love with you twice. Watch you choose me twice. That's not something many people get. 2 years after the accident, we celebrated our anniversary, both the original one and the second first date. We'd had when I didn't remember him. It had become a tradition, celebrating twice because we'd built our relationship twice. Any regrets? Sandro asked as we sat in our garden watching the sunset. Not one. This life, your world, your family, the danger. It's not what I imagined when I was growing up dreaming about my future. But it's mine, and I wouldn't change it. Even the hard parts. The violence, the fear, the woman at the shelter whose boyfriend died. Even those. Because they taught me that life isn't simple. That loving you means accepting darkness along with light. And I've decided that's okay, that you're worth it. I love you, Natalie Russo. Both versions of you. The one who forgot me and the one who remembered. You're everything? I love you too, in this life and whatever comes after. 3 years later, we were expecting our first child. A daughter, according to the ultrasound. I was terrified and excited in equal measure. What if she grows up and hates what we are? What her father does? I asked one evening, my hand on my swollen belly. Then we'll love her anyway. Give her choices we didn't have. Let her decide if she wants to be part of this world or build something completely different. Sandro kissed my forehead. She'll have options. That's what we can give her. Freedom to choose her own path. Even if that path takes her far from us. Especially then. We'll teach her to be strong, independent, brave enough to choose what's right for her, not what's expected or what's easy. Our daughter Isabella was born on a spring morning. She was perfect. Dark hair like her father, determined expression even as a newborn. Holding her, I felt the weight of responsibility and the lightness of joy simultaneously. She's beautiful, Sandro whispered, tears in his eyes. Like her mother, she's ours. That's all that matters. Raising Isabella in Sandro's world was complicated. We protected her fiercely, kept her separated from the criminal aspects, tried to give her as normal a childhood as possible. But she was smart, perceptive, and by age 5 she'd figured out that her father's business wasn't normal. Why do we have so many guards, Daddy? She asked one evening at dinner. Sandro and I exchanged glances. We'd discussed this moment, prepared for it, because Daddy has a job that sometimes makes people angry. The guards keep us safe. From bad people. From people who don't understand that family should be protected, not hurt. Yes. Are you a bad person, Daddy? That's complicated, Princess. I've done bad things to protect good people. Some would say that makes me bad. Others would say it makes me practical. What do you think? She considered this seriously. I think you're my daddy. That makes you good to me. Good answer. Remember that when you're older and people tell you stories about our family. At 10, Isabella asked directly about the family business. We told her the truth, age appropriately, but honest, that her father ran operations both legal and illegal. That we had enemies and allies. That life was more complicated than good and evil. So you're like an anti-hero, she said after processing. In the books I read, anti-heroes do bad things for good reasons. That's you, right, Daddy? Something like that. But Bella, you need to understand. This life I've lived, it's not a story, it's real. People get hurt. Families are destroyed. It's not glamorous or exciting. It's survival in a world that doesn't allow for simple choices. I understand. And Daddy, I don't think you're bad. I think you're trying your best in a hard situation. That counts for something. At 18, Isabella announced she wanted to study law. I want to help people navigate complicated legal situations, like our family, but on the right side of it. Sandro was surprised and proud in equal measure. You don't want to join the family business. I am joining it. Just from a different angle. You need good lawyers, right? People who understand both worlds. That's what I'll be. She hugged him. I'm not abandoning the family, Dad. I'm just approaching it my way. Your mother would be proud. He looked at me. Hell, I'm proud. You're taking everything you've learned from this life and using it to build something better. 15 years after the accident that had erased my memories, I sat in our garden watching Sandro play with our granddaughter, Isabella's daughter, born when Bella was 25. The little girl had his dark eyes and Isabella's fierce independence. You look contemplative, Gianna said, sitting beside me. She'd become my closest friend over the years, the sister I'd never had. Just thinking about how far we've come, how different my life is from what I imagined. Do you ever regret it? The memory loss, the complications, marrying into this family, not once. That accident, as terrible as it was, gave me a second chance. Let me choose Sandro consciously without the rose-colored glasses of new love. I'm grateful for that clarity. You were always meant to be his wife. Memory or not, you and my brother are inevitable. Some people are just meant to find each other. That evening, as Sandro and I got ready for bed, a routine we'd perfected over 15 years, he pulled me close. Do you remember the hospital? When I told the doctor you were my wife and you didn't believe me? I remember thinking you were either a con artist or completely delusional. Possibly both. I smiled at the memory. I definitely didn't believe we were married. And now, 15 years, one daughter, one granddaughter later. Do you believe it now? I believe it's the truest thing in my life. That choosing you twice was the best decision I ever made. I kissed him softly. Even when the memories came back and I saw both versions of our story, nothing changed. I loved you then, I love you now, I'll love you forever. Forever is a long time. Not long enough when I'm with you. 20 years after the accident, Sandro retired from family leadership, passing control to his younger brother. We'd transitioned most operations to legitimate businesses, though some gray areas remained. But we'd kept our promise, to be better, to choose mercy when possible, to build something our children and grandchildren could be proud of. No regrets. I asked on our 20th anniversary of my first meeting with him. Only that I didn't get to spend even more time with you. That the years go too fast. That I want 1,000 more lifetimes with you. He pulled me into his arms. But if I only get this lifetime, that's enough. You're enough. You've always been enough. I love you, Alessandro Russo. My partner. My choice. I love you, Natalie Russo. My wife, my heart. My everything. We'd started with a woman who didn't remember and a man trying to make her fall in love with him again. We'd built something real from that impossible foundation. Honest, complicated, sometimes messy, but always genuine. And in the end, that was what mattered. Not how we started, but how we chose to continue. Every day for 20 years, we'd chosen each other. That was the real love story. Not the memories, not the romance. Just the choice, made over and over through complications and danger and joy and peace. The choice to love, to stay, to build a life together that was worth every impossible moment. And we'd make that choice every day for the rest of our lives. Because that's what love was. Not a feeling or a memory, but a decision. Made consciously, deliberately, completely. We'd made it twice, and we'd keep making it forever.